Hi everybody, I'm Danny Dancer. I am the Kidtropolis educator here at Children's Museum Houston, and today's Brain Break is sponsored by Nico Nico's. So it is getting really close to Halloween, and of course one of the things that we love about Halloween, besides kind of the spooky stuff and getting to dress up in costumes, is the candy. So what I thought I would do for our brain break today is make a candy and show you how you can make this candy at home as well. Now, because I'm in Nico Nico's, I decided to try to see if I could make a Greek candy recipe. And it's kind of a candy slash cookie recipe, and it's called Mosaiko. Now, here's the thing you need to know. This is a recipe I've never made before, so I am not like a perfect expert chef at this. So you might have made this before, you might have a slightly different recipe, but this is a really, really kid-friendly recipe that you can try at home. It's not healthy, it's candy, but you know, Halloween, we make a couple of little exceptions to the food choices we make sometimes. So here is everything that you are going to need to make your own Greek candy cookie. We are going to need half a cup of butter, and we need to melt the butter, which I've already done. We also need half a cup of powdered sugar. We need 2.5 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa, and we need 2.5 tablespoons of orange juice. The last ingredient that you're gonna need are some butter cookies. Now, y'all, I went to 3 different stores trying to find the type of butter cookie that I thought would work best, and I couldn't find it. So I ended up getting these butter cookies, but I think this would also work pretty well with just something like animal cookies or even like Nilla wafers or something like that, because we can kind of make up our own variation on the recipes. It's okay, but this is the kind that I'm going to use today. You need about 2 to 3 cups of that. We're not going to measure it perfectly, and you'll see why in just a moment. The tools that we need to cook: we need a big bowl, we need a whisk that we can stir everything together, and once we add the cookies, we need a spoon or a spatula. Eventually, we are going to need to be able to roll this up in like parchment paper, or if you'd prefer, you can use saran wrap. And then we need a knife and cutting board. It does need to be a pretty sharp knife, so that'll definitely be an adult step here. Let's get to the cooking. Mixing in all of our ingredients, we are going to start off by pouring our melted butter. First step whenever we're cooking, of course, wash our hands. Soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Once that's done, we can start mixing our ingredients. We're going to take our melted butter, our powdered sugar, carefully dump that in, our unsweetened cocoa powder, and our orange juice. We get to add all 4 of those ingredients in right away, and then we're going to take our whisk and we're going to mix it up. Now this, we just need to make sure everything is completely mixed together. It doesn't have to be like a super duper long time, but we want to make sure that we're scraping the sides until we have everything mixed together and it looks nice and smooth. The next step, we are going to take our cookies and we're going to break them up into smaller pieces. Not really, really small, but maybe about this size. So break them up into smaller pieces, and we're just going to drop them right on top. Oh, look at all the cookies. They look delicious. Okay, our next step, we don't need our whisk, we need our spoon or our spatula, and we are going to stir this up. Now we want to be careful while we're doing this that we don't break the cookies up into little tiny crumbs. So it's okay if they break up a little bit, but we're not trying to like mash it down or anything like that. We're just going to stir it until every last bit of every last cookie is covered in chocolate. All right, we have all of our cookies coated in the chocolate. Now we're just going to let it sit for about 30 minutes so that the chocolate can get just a little bit harder so that we'll be able to touch it with our hands. All right, this has had a chance to get a little bit more solid. Our melted butter has cooled down a bit. Now it's time for the fun, messy part. We are gonna take our same spoon or spatula and a piece of parchment paper, and we are going to dump this in the center of our parchment paper, just like this. Now what we want to do is we want to roll this into a log. You might end up getting some chocolate on your fingers. That's okay. I know I'm all right with it. So we're going to kind of squish everything together so it's got a nice log shape to it. And then we can kind of squish in the ends a little bit to make it a little shorter if we need to. And then we want to roll it as tightly as we can. So I am going to pull this paper back so that I try to get a lot of that air that might be in there. Try to get some of that air out so I can really squash it. Look at that chocolate. Oh, such a mess. I love it. And we are going to roll this up. And then once it's rolled up, we're going to take one end, twist it a little bit, take the other end, make sure all the food is on the inside. There we go. And twist that a little bit. And now I'm going to start twisting both ends nice and tight. Again, that's going to get everything squished in towards the middle so that I have this not super crumbly when it's done. Everything is nice and compact. There we go. Just like this. Roll it so that it's nice and smooth. Twist a little bit more. Get a little more chocolate on yourself. And then I'm going to fold these ends over, and just to keep this seal nice and tight, I'm going to wrap it in some saran wrap. That'll keep my ends from moving. I can even squish a little bit more as I wrap it in saran wrap or plastic wrap. And I can do one more roll to make it nice and smooth. And this is almost ready to eat. This is a no-cook treat, a no-cook dessert. All I need to do is put this in the freezer for about 2 hours, and then I will show you the last step. All right, I've got this out of the freezer. It's nice and solid. It is time to unwrap and slice it up, because that's the last step. That's why I love this recipe. That's why I think it's such a great kid-friendly recipe, because we didn't have to use the oven or the stovetop or anything like that. Oh, look at this. This looks so gooey. This is not health food. I am confident. It is cookies mixed inside of chocolate, and I cannot wait to try this. All right, so we got a pretty sharp knife for this, so this is definitely an adult step. Like I said, we're going to cut this in slices that are maybe about 1 inch thick. If it crumbles a little, I'm going to say that's okay, because it tastes the same, and this looks so good, y'all. I'm excited. All right, so now I have these lovely slices here. I'm going to set my knife aside. I'm going to pull one out gently, I hope. There we go. Check this out. Look at all those little cookie bits mixed in with our buttery, sugary, orangey chocolate. I am so excited to try this. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me for today's Brain Break. Thank you to Nico Nikos for your sponsorship. And from Kidtropolis, I'm Danny. We will see you all later. Bye.